and the Australian people have elected Mr. Abbott, Taliban Tony, and his cohorts to lead us, to govern us, to make laws for us as a nation. And I was very interested to see then when most people become Prime Minister and they do their little victory speech, they usually say, we're here to rule or govern for all the people of this country. What did Murdoch's minion, the current Prime Minister, Mr. Tony Abbott, say? He said, we're open for business. Open for business? Has he forgotten that we're citizens and residents with rights and responsibilities? We're not carping consumers. This is not a company. This is a nation state with sovereign rights, with citizens who have rights and responsibilities to the Commonwealth. Why do you think it's called the Commonwealth of Australia? So here we have Murdoch's minion in a position of authority. And why is it Murdoch's minion? It's very simple. Because if you look at the destabilisation that occurred over the past 3 years, if you look at the media covering of what happened in this country over the past 3 years, on any given day you would see the hand of the puppet master in the current elections, Mr. Murdoch, and his domination of the means of communication in this country. On any day, just pick up one of his rags or one of his television stations and have a look at it and see what it's all about. And it was interesting last Saturday, I'm sure you weren't invited, I didn't get an invitation, I was a little bit upset, you know, as a journalist. But all Murdoch's minions, all his little employees from across the country, all those that have done so much over the last 3 years to ensure that the corporate-friendly Abbott government came into power, were invited to a knees-up Mother Brown at Kirribilli House, courtesy of the Australian taxpayer. So wonderful to see all these wizened, intellectually stunted journalists from Murdoch's sheltered workshops across the country, lifting their glasses, congratulating themselves on putting corporate interests between the interests of the citizens of this country. As I said before, we are not cringing, carping consumers who believe we only have a right to complain. We are citizens with rights, responsibilities. We understand that today power no longer lies in the Punch and Judy theatre in Canberra. Real power in this country lies in the hands of a small section of society that owns the means of production, distribution, exchange and communication. And Murdoch's minion is the man who proudly boasted that he would give up his last breath to ensure that some of the most richest and powerful corporations on this planet did not pay 1 extra cent in tax. So what's this man's legislative agenda? What's the legislative onslaught that you will be part of, privy to, privileged to experience over the next 3 years, possibly 6, depending on how long Murdoch's minion is able to put over the wall, over the eyes of the people of this country. So what are you looking for? For those of you on wages, you can look for, those of you who are salary earners, whether you're in the public sector or the private sector, can look forward to the removal of overtime. That's right. Removal of overtime payments. So we'll all be ready and waiting, arse in the air, ready and waiting for the boss. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No more overtime payments. All those rights that have been won through generations of people struggling for basic necessities like public education, public health, rights in the workplace will be legislated away over the next 3 years. Legislated away. And for what? For what? To increase profits for an increasingly small number of people in this country. That's Murdoch Minion's legislative onslaught that we are ready for. They're open for business, we're open for resistance. And on the first Friday of each month, till the day that Murdoch and his minion, Tony Abbott, and the boys and girls which make up the Parliamentary Liberal National Party continue to exercise power in this country, we will be here. Maybe a few dozen today, a few hundred in a few months' time, possibly tens of thousands in 2 or 3 years' time, when people begin to realise that this is a corporate-friendly government. And all those rights, conditions you take for granted today will be legislated away in laws. Obviously, most of you know that we live in a supposedly free society. Obviously, idiots like me can stand here and talk to you while we're ineffective. But as more and more people begin to understand the nature of this government's agenda, and the nature of this government's agenda is to privatise all public assets, it's to outsource all public services, it's to remove those rights that you have, it is to destroy the public health sector and privatise large slabs of it, is to push public education into the shadows. So we do have a choice. We can enjoy ourselves, watch TV, surf the net, go to, follow the soccer, become religious, go to church. We can enjoy ourselves. Or we can actually look at the reality that we're faced with on a day-to-day basis. Ultimately, the type of government we have, the type of laws that are passed, the type of society we become is dependent on each and every one of us taking our responsibilities as citizens, taking that responsibility. If you're not willing to take that responsibility, if you're not willing to stand up to protect the inalienable rights and liberties each and every one of us is born with, we deserve to have those rights and liberties removed. So, if you're concerned about Murdoch's minion, Mr. Tony Abbott, our beloved Prime Minister, if you're concerned about their legislative agenda, if you're concerned about how it impacts on you, but not only you and your family and your friends, but the community you are part of, if you're concerned about the increasing insecurity in your own life, both economically and environmentally, it's not just a matter of waiting till the next election and casting another ballot. It's a matter of becoming organised, becoming involved, taking the cudgel up to Murdoch's minion and his cohorts. Because without people doing that, every right that we have gained since federation in this country